Gauntlet is a top-down action RPG reimagining of, well, Gauntlet. It's a sword and sorcery adventure title about going on a quest through a magical labyrinth to battle massive bosses and unlock magical shards for your dubious sponsor. There are some elements that immediately and firmly set Gauntlet apart from similar action RPGs. Firstly, it lacks a traditional leveling system. Your character doesn't get stronger and improve their stats, it's their gear that improves. This means the game is balanced in such a way that you can jump in anywhere and be guaranteed you're met with a fair challenge. There's no grinding, no enemies exceptionally stronger than you, it's all skill. Gauntlet also places a humorous, childish focus on greed. Your gold count is scored against your co-op partners, and gold is the only means to upgrade and acquire new gear. Placing so much emphasis on treasure hoarding meshes really well with the arcadey design and equipment-only approach. It adds a sense of progression without leaning on traditional RPG leveling, and it helps give the game a stronger identity. Speaking of the arcadey design, Gauntlet's strengths lie mostly in the elegant simplicity of its combat system. You have an assortment of classes to choose from, and I primarily played as the Warrior. He's the straightforward, tanky melee build, and his interactions with the enemies are pretty interesting. In order to make melee viable in this game, most normal enemies are stunned by his basic attack. If you're hitting them, they can't hit you. This means you can cut absolute swaths through droves of minions on your way to smash their spawner, like an unstoppable bloody whirlwind. The challenge comes from properly orienting yourself. The last thing you want is to be completely surrounded, but if you are, they make special cooldown moves just for that. The Warriors also got your traditional light and heavy moveset, and a charging attack that greatly aids in mobility. It all comes together beautifully, and it clicked flawlessly with me nearly instantly. On the other hand, my roommate Nathan took up the Wizard's mantle. The Wizard is a very versatile character. He has a toolbox of spells and can switch through them immensely fast, but you do the switching with combos. Combo button inputs. The Wizard can be an unstoppable force of arcane destruction, but only if you've properly memorized and practiced those inputs. It's a perfect marriage of arcade action sensibilities with traditional Wizard utility. Again, you have all the tools you need, the only barrier to their usage is your own skill. The co-op synergy in Gauntlet is, thankfully, incredibly strong. There were plenty of instances that Nathan tossed down a freezing AoE spell, and I rushed in to slaughter the newly sluggish hordes of enemies. The emergent storytelling through the co-op is also extremely enjoyable. There was a bit where I died mid-challenge, so Nathan hunkered down in a corner, erected a lightning barrier, and mowed down enough cannon fodder minions to win me an extra life. It was pretty badass. The co-op offers plenty of opportunities to just plain fuck your friends over too, if you swing that way. You can destroy health pickups, steal their gold when they die, and other such chaotic mischief. It really plays into the game's childish focus on loot hoarding and streamlined ruthlessness. So, the combat is solid, so is the co-op, but what about the rest? I'm happy to say all the levels are unique and have their own atmosphere, sometimes to genuinely surprising effect. In addition to being memorable through their gimmicks and special enemy archetypes, there are puzzles to solve, locked rooms to explore, traps to avoid, and it never feels like the game runs out of ideas. Many combat-focused games tend to neglect their level design, but Gauntlet sure isn't one of them. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that Gauntlet rocks. It's smart, it knows how to keep everyone invested, and the way it marries the gameplay mechanics with its tone is incredibly memorable. Hey, it's the end of the video. Did you know I have a Patreon? It's true! If you grab certain tiers there, you can directly influence what content I make next. Or you can just offer general support. Both are lovely, and some equally lovely people are already signed up. People I will list for you now. My wonderful supporters are iPompous, Anonymous, Jay, Marth Sinclair, Mighty Minimalist Power Rangers, Sam Anderson, Some Call Me Anto, and Wapoza. A link to the Patreon is in the description. Thank you all so much for your time and thoughts, and I'll talk to you in the next video.